Okay, so I'm pretty sure that we all have Facebook or have at least heard of it. And I'm pretty sure we've all seen firsthand or have heard about some pretty horrible Facebook statuses that have come about. Maybe some with, exclamation points and other characters to replace letters in a word, or acronyms where we don't spell out any word and we just use letters because we want to do it fast and we're lazy. Well, that doesn't really work in the professional world. Take a business paper or, a newspaper, for example. They have to go through major editing resources and they have to get it approved by so many people before it goes out for people to read, because without the proper punctuation and grammar, we'd be reading a bunch of words that didn't make any sense. Communication is the most important aspect in a business career. If you have poor grammar skills, that's a downfall, because potential business partners are looking for someone that can communicate easily to any type of people or any group of members. There are many easy steps to remember when typing or speaking, or how to speak whenever you're reading something that's been typed as a business letter or a speech or a memo. And by remembering a few small rules, it'll make these things a lot easier. My name is Lindsey May. I am a junior transfer at Texas A&M Kingsville. I play softball. I am a catcher. My major is business management. I have about a year left, and I'm looking to get a job straight out of college, hopefully in the oil field area. I got all my sources from Grammar Girl, which were provided by you for the link on Blackboard. I'm going to present my 3 points. My first main point that I'm going to talk about is the confusion with run-on sentences. The second point will be comma splices and the appropriate times for using commas and not using commas. The last thing I'll be discussing is how to recognize and fix common errors to improve anybody's writing skills. Whether it's today, writing a letter to your dad, or writing a letter to your boss, or even sending text messages. Text messages are a big thing in communication, like in business. They become more acceptable and more appropriate, and you don't want to send a bunch of acronyms to your boss or, a buyer that's about to make a big deal with your company. Point 1. I would bet money that most of you agree that whenever I said a run-on sentence is a really long sentence, it's just a really long sentence with a bunch of words. But that's not the case. What makes a run-on sentence, no matter how long it is a lack of punctuation. Run-on sentences can either be long or they can be short. A run-on sentence occurs when you have fused two complete sentences together with no punctuation at all. In order for the sentence to be clear and understandable when reading, it needs commas to show the reader where to pause or where to stop. You do this a lot whenever you're greeting. You say your greeting, comma, or you say the name, comma, and it's just kind of a pause, and it helps you with the flow of your letter. Run-on sentences can be easily fixed by one of many methods, like the next thing we'll discuss, comma splices. Just like there are instances to use question marks or exclamation points, there's also a specific time when we need commas and when we don't need commas. Sometimes known by the name comma fault or comma error, a comma splice makes the most sense because of the problem is because when you're comma splice together things that weren't meant to be spliced together, whenever you're trying to splice two things together that aren't supposed to be together. So you're trying to put that comma there, but it doesn't belong there because those two sentences can't go together. If you want to splice together two independent clauses, you aren't supposed to use a comma, but because it's not strong enough to support the splitting of the sentences, you would need something like a semicolon, or just put a period and start a whole other sentence, or something else to join it. Both comma splices and run-on sentences can be easily corrected by using one of the many methods that we'll discuss in this last point. The error in run-on sentences is the absence of punctuation. So the easiest method to correcting is simply adding a form of punctuation, whether it be a colon, a semicolon, or a conjoining word. A comma usually does the trick, but in some cases only a word or a different punctuation will also fix the problem. The idea to fixing a run-on sentence is focusing on connecting two clauses that can be complete sentences on their own. So if this sentence is complete and this sentence is complete, we use a comma and with a conjoining word, and you have a correct sentence. There are multiple ways to fix run-on sentences depending on the relationship between the different clauses. For example, you could use a colon if the first clause introduces the second clause. To separate the two independent clauses, you can simply add a period in between them, like I said earlier. And adding a semicolon in between two clauses of relevant information will probably connect them into a complete sentence. To build a stronger sentence, another option is to use a conjunction word with a comma to connect two sentences. So we're going to use the sentence, I am a girl, I am good at sports. Whenever you hear that, you can think of it as two sentences. I am a girl, I am good at sports. Or we could throw a semicolon in there because they are relevant to each other. I am a girl, semicolon, I am good at sports. That's a complete sentence. I am a girl, period, I am good at sports. Or I am a girl, comma, and I am good at sports. That last one is where we use the comma and the conjoining word. Those two come together. Those are a package deal. The problem with comma splices is we tend to go comma crazy and either use them or we don't use them crazily too much or don't use them enough. If you want to make a splice together, two independent clauses, you're supposed to use a comma. Misplaced commas can be overread or a huge nuisance to a grammar critic. A comma is not strong enough to connect two independent clauses, so the error is called a comma splice. Some ways to join two independent sentences is to use a conjunction, colon, or a semicolon. Another option is to fix this error is adding a subordinating conjunction and turning one of the sentences into an independent clause and connecting them with a comma. A conjunction word is a word or punctuation that correctly connects two sentences. But the easiest and safest thing to do is using a period and leaving the sentences as two independent sentences. These are small errors but can be crucial depending on the style of letter you're writing. Taking the time to look out for small things like this will help your work make your work look more professional. I hope that I was able to assist you in strengthening your grammar skills. There are many grammar errors that people can make, but once you focus on fixing these mistakes, the more natural it will come for you. A simple comma can fix a run-on sentence as long as the two clauses are independent. A comma splice can occur very easily since commas are used commonly, but remembering that comma splices occur when a comma cannot splice two separate clauses. Grammar seems small, but it is sometimes one of the first impressions people get of a person, whether they see a status on Facebook that is hardly legible or they've read a well-written article in the paper that you worked hard on. Both make a statement. Make a statement and produce good, thorough work. Do it right the first time so you don't have to do it again.